Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down under the mat, and we are here to play a game. We are going to play
a game.
We are playing Keep or Cut again. This is the third iteration of the format, I think.
It is. We've done men and women. We've done tag teams for WWE, Attitude Era, and Modern.
Yep. Go back and watch that if you haven't already.
Yeah, now
we're doing AEW specific. Giving AEW some love, which goes contrary to the past of this podcast.
Something that Tony Khan doesn't do for his tag team division. We're going to do it for him.
No
Shots
comment.
fired. Shots fired. So this will be tag teams, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the list of names that
have not
producer
either,
Luke
so-
put forward for us.
Yes, he made a nice little table, and he's got 9 tag teams in there. We're going to pick 4, and we're going to cut 5.
Okay, all right. So this is like our Mount Rushmore of AEW.
Essentially,
tag
yeah,
teams.
just a different sort of format
Okay.
to doing them.
We've done this previously. We sort of have our ideas. We've been pretty accurate, you and I. We've been fairly
Pretty
close
good, pretty
with
good.
this. I think
a couple
this
little
one
differentiations, maybe from order or just different tag teams in general, but some pretty
might be different.
Yeah. All right. Kicking it off strong with the Young Bucks.
Well, okay.
Well, talking about AEW and tag teams, you have to talk about the Young Bucks,
We're
right?
going to talk about the EVPs.
Yeah, absolutely.
The company wouldn't be there without them.
No, not at all. Next, a tag team very familiar with the Young Bucks. Can you have a guess?
Is it FTR?
Absolutely, FTR. And I now see that they were put in this list and not in
the other
the
ones.
modern WWE list because, let's be real, Revival was good in WWE, but FTR is much better.
Oh, for
in
sure.
AEW.
For sure.
Tag team number 3, the Outrunners.
Really?
He put the Outrunners in here.
Oh, great. I'm hoping you're going to find a really good picture of them, Luke, to put in here as their little pictures or whatever so everyone knows who they are, because those who don't watch Rampage probably don't know who they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it the Outrunners or Outriders?
Runners. Outrunners.
Okay. Just so I remember who they are.
All right, number 4, the Learning Tree.
Oh, my goodness.
Interesting pick, Lucas.
Okay.
Interesting pick.
It's the Learning Tree. I don't know if I could cut that team any faster.
Right? Right. Team number 5, the Acclaimed.
The
Acclaimed have arrived. Scissor me, daddy ass.
I have a feeling that maybe producer Luke's lack of engagement and knowledge of AEW might leave some teams out of this, so we might have to bring in some.
I don't know. I'm looking at the list. We got some good ones.
Oh, we still do? Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, why is the Learning Tree on here? But anyway.
We've got Hurt Syndicate.
Already? Have they even had a tag team match?
No.
They have not even had a tag team match in AEW. Just
So I think that's telegraphing a cut pretty well. Sorry, Luke.
Okay. I think there's going to be some teams missing that maybe we can adjust Editor Luke's picks to make this a little bit more difficult. But anyway, we'll see. Who else have we got?
House of Black.
That's a good pick. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Great pick. Next, second to last, Private Party.
Yep.
And last, we've got the Elite. I think we're going to have to change that.
What do you mean the Elite? The Elite's the Young Bucks.
I know. All right. Make some changes on the fly. Lucha Bros.
Okay, can I make another change?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Sorry, Luke.
Love you, Luke, but we're going to fix this. Can we take out the Learning Tree
Yep.
and the Hurt Syndicate?
Okay.
Because I don't think either of those should be on this list. And I will put forward as a replacement for one of them, Aussie Open.
Oh, yeah. Have they really done that much in AEW, though?
They were one of the first matches on Dynamite I ever saw. Them versus Young Bucks, and I was astounded by how good they were.
Okay.
And then you can put another team in. Top Flight.
Nah, stuff them. Who else we got? I'm just thinking of who the champions have been. Oh, SCU. Let's go back to the early days of AEW.
Okay. You'll have to freshen my memory on who exactly.
Pretty sure it was Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian were the 2 champions at the time. You got to cut them, aren't you?
I've got no clue that they ever wrestled in AEW. I was like, Frankie Kazarian's at TNA, isn't he? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You want to put them in?
Yeah.
All right, I'm cutting them because I don't know who they are. That's my first cut. SCU, I don't know who they are.
Well, kicking off the SCU. You're cutting them. As much as I think the Outrunners are entertaining, they're gone.
Yeah, look,
They're absolutely gone. Look. First pick. It's got to be the Young Bucks. It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be.
I mean, you look at what they've done in terms of being in the EVPs for AEW, the fact that, how they've built that tag division around themselves and how they've put a lot of these other younger teams over in that period, the way that they created the Elite with Kenny and Hangman and stuff, the way they've done it now with Okada, the Ring of Honor runs they've had before.
Could have put in Kenny and Hangman. They had the tag titles for a bit.
You way you put they did their New Japan stuff and everything beforehand. They are probably up there with one of the best, if not the best, tag team ever in pro wrestling. I think a lot of people would argue one way or the other. Superkick Party, EVP Trigger, Meltzer Driver, all the different ways they keep adjusting and changing their characters. The way that Matt Jackson is way more entertaining than Nick is, but they work so well together as a duo.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still innovative spots that, like, I can still remember, was it last year when they had the match with Darby Allin and Sting and they put thumbtacks in the bottom of their
shoes
and kicked him in the face with it?
Oh, they did that previously in a steel cage match against the Lucha Bros as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's just their thing. Whenever they have a brutal match, that comes out.
Yeah.
But it just so happened that was their Young Bucks exclusive
Their
sneakers.
Reebok pumps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pumps.
Got to pick their number one.
Yeah, absolutely. What they've done for tag team divisions worldwide and how much innovation they've brought time and time and time again to the tag team division and their moveset, unparalleled.
Yep, agree.
Second team to cut.
I'm cutting those 80s dudes.
Yep, all right, fair.
You cut them first. I think they're hilarious, but they're not in this quality of team. You're cutting the Acclaimed, aren't you?
I'm cutting Aussie open.
Oh!
Which hurts. Like, obviously, you can see the flag behind me, but I just don't have that much exposure to them. I think I've seen maybe one tag team match of theirs. And then I've been on board with Kyle Fletcher as a singles competitor now.
Yeah.
But them as a tag team, I'm not as exposed to them as you have.
I feel like maybe the match that I watched, because I mean, I will admit I have not been an AEW guy for a long time. I watched highlights of Kenny Omega things and Young Buck stuff for years, but never really watched Dynamite. Once we were talking about starting this podcast with you, me, and Ted, I went and started watching a Dynamite, and I'm sure on the first ever Dynamite episode I watched, the main event was the Young Bucks against Aussie Open. And I thought, sick, Aussies on the show, this would be great. And it was one of the best tag team matches I had ever seen. And it was just on a Dynamite. And
Young Bucks are good at pulling that out.
I remember that there was like a point where Mark Davis was doing a tombstone and Kyle Fletcher flipped off and hit like what they do with the Meltzer Driver and stuff now. But then one of the Young Bucks reversed it into like a Canadian destroyer as he was trying to do this move. It was just insane. And
I'm going to have to go back and watch this match. It sounds phenomenal.
From someone who had gone from watching WWE tag team wrestling
to
seeing that on a weekly show, I was just gobsmacked. And maybe that's why my memories and nostalgia for Aussie Open is higher because of that match. And then a couple of things that I saw after that. But it wasn't long after that, I'm pretty sure, that Mark got injured and he hasn't really wrestled since.
Yeah, no, he's had the one match with the 8-man tag the other week, and that was pretty much it. Who's your second pick?
It's got to be FTR, right?
I'm going Lucha Bros.
Okay. I'm being an FTR. Like you said, they are better in AEW than they were as the Revival. Maybe if you go watch our other videos around the tag team wrestling for the WWE side that we drafted and kept over there, we made the comment that Vince McMahon was against tag team wrestling and never really pushed it the way he should have. And I think if you've ever listened to any of the FTR's podcasts, they are very clear in saying that they were never a priority for what WWE was doing.
No, never. And that's why, like, you look at one of the proposed gimmicks for them just before they eventually left WWE. The outfits with, like, the giant clocks, like they were 90s rappers. Like, that's not FTR.
No, God,
at
no.
all.
I mean, you talk about the Wembley, the All-In match between them and the Young Bucks, and how brilliant that's been. They've had multiple 5-star matches with those guys.
Yeah.
I think it's like 5-6 matches they've had, and it's almost 3-all or 4-2 one way or the other. Like every single time they've had a series of matches with the Bucks, it's brilliant. So those two are perfectly foiled against each other as tag teams in AEW.
Yeah, yeah, and like you kind of can loop the Lucha Bros into that equation as well. Those very early years of he's getting the Penta mask out.
Should we try and put it on it?
I don't think it's going to work.
You get the point, though, right?
Yeah, we've got a Penta mask.
YouTube, you can see it. It's Penta.
We've got a Penta mask. Those early years, it was the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros before FTR had made the jump.
Yeah.
And exactly what you've said. Like FTR in AEW with the Young Bucks, they've had some iconic matches. And it was the Young Bucks and Lucha Bros before that.
Yeah.
Just their ability as well, similar to the Young Bucks, to consistently innovate. And then you've got the Mexican heritage of how they do luchador wrestling. Like, you add that into the stuff that the Young Bucks would usually do, and you get like jumps over the ropes and flips over the top. It's just amazing to see. The Lucha Bros are fantastic. They are well deserving of this number 2 spot, I think. Who are you cutting next?
Private Party.
Yeah, I think I'll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll go Private Party as well.
I mean, I know they're AEW originals. I know they've only just now gotten their tag team title run.
Yeah.
They're both super athletic guys. I've just never overly cared for them as characters.
No, I thought it was really impressive in those when AEW did the tournament to crown the first ever tag champions, which SCU won.
Yeah.
Private Party beat the Young Bucks in the first round.
Yeah, and that's what they harken back on.
Yeah,
when
and
won the
and they
titles
used
and
that for their feud recently, where they eventually beat the Young Bucks again for those tag titles.
And I get that's good long-term storytelling. I just
Like
care.
in between that, they've done nothing.
Well, because like even the gimmick of them, walking out and having to get through the red rope like into the party and stuff, I was like, it's fine. It's to me, and this might be shadowing my next pick, is that they were always a cheaper version of the Acclaimed in that sense. Like the Acclaimed were the cool rappers that had the cool tag team moves, that had daddy ass, that had all that sort of stuff with them. Private Party to me just seemed like the young knockoff.
Yeah.
So I never really vibed with them.
Yeah, that's fair. So that means you're going with the Acclaimed next?
Yeah, look, you know what? I'll put them as 3. I'll pick the Acclaimed as my 3rd pick.
No, I'm going to go with them as well. I think they're such an entertaining team to have. And especially once they got Billy Gunn under their wraps as well.
Yeah.
The dynamic just completely shifted. The journey of them to getting the trios tag titles was amazing. Once they finally reached that mountain, it was great. The payoff was fantastic. And they're just consistently good since then.
Anthony Bowens is so underrated as a wrestler.
Absolutely.
Like Max is great. And I love the fact that he calls himself the best wrestler alive and all that stuff when he's clearly not. I love the fact that he called out Shelton Benjamin on the CVV podcast like a year or so ago, and now Shelton works for the same company, which is what he did want to happen.
Yep.
I don't know, that's building the
And
tension.
now they're getting like Prime TV, which is exactly what Max didn't want.
And he said it was going to happen. Like he said this was going to happen, and it's exactly what it has. So, but I mean, the two guys as a duo, and then like with Billy Gunn as the trio, they're just so entertaining. Some of their entrances, the raps that Max puts through were so good. They were so funny.
Yeah.
The ones he tore down like Hangman Page and stuff and the Elite. Then when he released that CD, that diss track like CD with some of those songs on there, go and listen to it on Spotify because like he tears them apart. And they're all good beats too. Like he's actually a really talented rapper like in itself, let alone the fact that he's, got a national TV platform to be able to do it on every week when he walks to the ring. So I really like the Acclaim for that. Yeah. I like now the fact too that they're teasing that tension of them splitting. Because I wouldn't mind seeing them have a run separately to each other. Because I think Bowens deserves a shot at some. Putting him in the C2 would have been great, I reckon.
Yeah.
He would never win it, but he would put on some really good matches if he was in that kind of a tournament. And I don't want to see it like what WWE is trying to do with New Day, split them 10 years down the road where we don't want it to happen now. We're past that point.
Yeah.
The Acclaimed are still young enough that you fresh enough that you can deal with them breaking up, and then in 12 months' time, 2 years' time, bring them back together again.
Yeah.
And we move
absolutely. On. Yeah. Next cut.
It's tough.
It's tough. For you especially. You've still got House of Black, Lucha Bros, and Aussie Open.
I've
got FTR, SCU, and House of Black.
Well, I don't know who one of those teams is, so that makes it easier for me. That's why I cut them already. I will cut Aussie Open at this point. As much as we love Fletcher and what he's doing now as a singles guy, Davis's injury for the last...
It really killed the momentum.
It really did. Maybe they'll get back there again. Same as United Empire when you throw in Will Ospreay into the three of them. If they ever get back on the same page, having the three of those guys go for trios titles and stuff would be sick. And I would say if you get those three together, it'd be almost unstoppable in that trios division. But in terms of this list and in terms of what we have for AEW, I think I have to cut them now, sadly.
Yeah. I've got nothing else to add to that.
Okay.
I've cut SCU. You've already harping on about them. I think like them being the first ever tag team champions is a really good accolade for them. But I just think with the caliber of tag teams we have on this list, they just don't stack up to some of these other.
Did the Young Bucks make them the first ever tag team champions just so they didn't make it themselves?
I absolutely think that's what happened.
So that they had someone to beat to win them because they didn't want to be inaugural tag team champions?
Because I think that would have been too predictable at that 100%. Stage because they were literally MVPs of the company and like everyone was like, it was Cody, it was Kenny, it was the Bucks. And that's why Cody, very early on in his AEW career, he had that stipulation against Chris Jericho where if he didn't win, he couldn't challenge for the main title.
Yeah.
He wrote himself out of that equation to remove that as a possibility of the fans turning on him for just booking himself to win the world title.
Yeah.
Which ended up just happening with the TNT title instead.
Yeah, but that's not the world title, so we'll forgive him for that one.
But it wasn't a mid-card title, apparently.
No. It was a network title.
Yeah. All right. Last.
So we both have to choose, are we keeping the House of Black or not?
I think that's my problem. Because I've got them and I've got FTR.
I've got them and Lucha Bros.
I really want to pick House of Black because I love Malachi, his work as Alistair in NXT and then what he's done as Malachi in AEW has been phenomenal. I love that just before they both left WWE, him and Buddy had some absolutely amazing matches together. Mm-hmm. And then they had some amazing matches at the start of their tenure with AEW as well. But now that they're a tag team, I want to pick them. I don't know if I can pick them over FTR though.
No, you probably can't. I'm going to pick them over.
Want to, but
I'm going to pick them over the Lucha Bros though.
Okay, I'll go FTR. So we've got some different picks.
Not as a gripe to the Lucha Bros, because I agree with what you said about Phoenix and Penta. They are brilliant luchador wrestlers, and I can't wait for them to get to WWE and shoot an absolute amount of excitement into that division that's been lacking.
Yeah.
Hopefully on Raw, straight in there.
You look at what Motor City Machine Guns have done in that short time that they've been there. Like they've brought some freshness into that tag team division.
Yep.
I hope Lucha Bros go to Raw instead whenever they do come across. Because, pending if Motor City Machine Guns get transferred or not with drafts before Lucha Bros get there, I think they should be on opposite brands. So
for the short term, yeah.
Yeah. So you've got that level of excitement in both divisions, bringing everyone else up.
I agree with that. I'm keeping House of Black. A lot of that is based off Aleister Black and his NXT run, and then when he went into Malachi Black and how good he's been.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't have a singles match for like a year and a half or something in AEW, like they just didn't book him to have singles matches. So everything was a tag team match. Seems like they were underutilizing him, but the way that allowed him to show off and work so well with Buddy and Brody. Brody, I think, is really underestimated as a big guy in AEW.
I've not seen too many of his matches. He's really good, but I really need to go and watch some.
Go
more
and
of his
watch
stuff.
Dynamite from this week and his match with Darby.
Yeah, I've heard some really good things about that already because they've had great matches,
and they're both Washington boys, so they've gone all the way through the Indies and stuff together. Like I really, really like him as a big guy and his agility that he's got. And I think we talked about this in the WWE draft around guys like Angelo Dawkins and the War Raiders.
Yeah.
They're big guys that shouldn't be able to do what they do, but they can. And Brody King is definitely one of those. Malachi, he's just ferocity. The kicks and the stuff that it can come out of anywhere. And they are such a foreboding act that they didn't overbook it with the lights out and they came back up and stuff. Like they did that enough where when he was in NXT, I think it was a really great touch, and I think he kept it in AEW, that they didn't overuse the like element of darkness and spooky stuff. They used it when they needed to, and it worked.
And I like that they've also been using that for Julia as well, like bringing her on board into the House of Black and developing her as a sort of sinister, darker character after she was a cheerleader character for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a real
absolute props
big
to them.
dichotomy of her character, and I like that a lot. But yeah, so I'll keep them over the Lucha Bros.
Yeah. Okay. And we've already harped on about FTR enough. I don't need to add anything else.
No, I don't think so. So I've gone Young Bucks, FTR, The Acclaimed, and the House of Black.
I've gone Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, The Acclaimed, and FTR. Again, like the other one, we've got similar tag teams with one difference from the last tag team. So,
I mean, it's good. I think if we hadn't have edited it, I probably would have picked the Learning Tree as my first and kept them.
Oh, yeah. And I would have picked the Young Bucks and the Elite as well, I reckon.
Double down on... What about if you had kept the Young Bucks and then you could have also had the Elite and you also could have picked Matthew and Nicholas Jackson?
Yeah, because they're all different characters.
They're all different teams.
They're different teams.
So then you just need one more.
You put a question to me about a War Games match between Usos, New Day, and The Shield versus Edge and Christian, Hardys, and Dudley. So
go check that on our other YouTube channel.
Check it out and let us know what you think. I want to pitch to you, if you were doing over the AEW tag team division,
yes,
who would be your first ever tag team champions out of your 4 picks?
Out of my 4 picks, I think it's FTR. I think mainly for the fact that they are that classic old school tag team wrestling tag team.
Yeah.
They do tag team moves together. They go to drive to and from venues together. They are like brothers together. They set that standard of what you want your tag team to be, and then everyone else has to try and beat them. Young Bucks, like we said, didn't book themselves to win it straight away for the exact reason. So I did the same thing. Young Bucks can chase them. If they wanted to be the heel versions, then they can take them and then be heels. If you want the Young Bucks to stay faces, they can chase the titles off any of these guys.
Yeah.
So I think FTR is your first team because they set the standard for what you want that division to be.
I would give it to the Lucha Bros because I feel like they were in AEW pretty fairly early into the career of AEW, and I feel like they kind of got overshadowed by some other teams and didn't get the recognition I felt they deserved as early as I think they should have.
Yep.
Like, they had banger matches, absolutely, but I feel like them getting that tag team title crown came later than it should have. So I'd like to amend that and crown them first ever tag champs.
Valid point.
All right. Let us know what your picks were for this AEW tag team, keep or cut. Let us know if you thought we were wrong, which I don't think. I don't think many of you will think, unless you're really diehard Outrunners fans, I don't think you're going to disagree with us.
And let us know in the chat, in the comments, or even over on our Discord. Go have a chat over there. Tell us what else you want us to draft or pick keep the cuts from. I mean,
give us some ideas. Not that we don't have ideas, but let us know what you want to see from us.
We can do trios. We can do AEW women's. We can do TNT champions. We can do the United States champions for the WWE side.
Yep.
Favorite NXT.
The world
matches.
is your oyster.
Whatever you want. We're happy to do it. Provide some content out. Just make sure you guys like and subscribe.
Yep. Like and subscribe.
We need those likes. We need those subscribes. Keep bumping our numbers up so we can spread our love to more people.
In a sensible way.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a sensible way. With consent.
Speaking of consent.
Sesame! Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.